Hi, it's Tracy HD, and I want to thank you for joining me for today's daily Oracle and Tarot card reading. And this is going to cover the weekend. And this weekend reading is, let me just check my calendar here. We're looking at Friday, which is going to be April the 9th. Nope, sorry, Friday, April the 10th. Saturday, April the 11th. And Sunday, April the 12th. Okay, and as we get ready to do the reading, I will shuffle the deck, asking all light beings, angels, and God, please give me our weekend message so I may share this with our viewers for the highest good of all. Pull a card from the center, and it is the Gift. And Stolen in Her Sleep. And Light the Darkness. Okay, so let's start the weekend reading here, and we start out with the Gift. And with the Gift, it's showing a fairy kneeling down, and there's a little gnome or troll or elf, very small little figure standing next to her. He's looking at her, she's looking at him. And the message is a present and offer nurturance, growth, potential. And when I look at this card deeply from Spirit, I'm thinking this is an unexpected gift, because she kind of has the look of surprise on her face. An offer, nurturance, growth, potential. Our last card was talking about growth. And this seems to be the theme with this card as well. A present, growth, potential. Present doesn't have to be something materialistic. A present or a gift could be something, it's really hard to describe. A gift could be the growth that you've experienced on the inside emotionally, from going through a bad experience, that gives you the stability and the strength to be able to take on whatever comes next in your life. When I look at this and it says an offer and some potential. Any life experience has the potential to make you a stronger person if you want to learn from it. Otherwise, if we keep repeating the same mistakes, we're going to keep having to go round and round in that circle until we learn our lesson and finally move on. What I feel is whenever something bad happens, it happens for a reason, and it may have saved you from something worse. When you see the beauty in a situation, it may be a bad situation, but if you look hard enough, there is a gift in every situation that we go through. There's a benefit, something that you will carry on for the rest of your life. Just the factor that it makes us grow. Let's see how the other cards measure up with this one. And we have the second card, Stolen in Her Sleep, unaware, unconscious, unawakened. Unaware, unconscious, unawakened, stolen in her sleep. This card here, again, there's all these very dark figures. They're very scary, very like lurking in the background. She's sleeping, she's unaware. This card to me is saying that, something very well may be happening behind the scenes that we don't know about. When we're unconscious, we're sleeping. Sometimes people go through life all day making unconscious decisions because they're not fully present. They're not in the moment. And when you think stolen in her sleep, unaware, unconscious, unawakened, something has taken place that you're not aware of. And it may very well be for your own good. You will find out sooner or later, because all things come to light sooner or later. Very interesting picture. And then the last one is light the darkness. And when we're looking at light the darkness, we're seeing this little tiny fairy sitting on top of one of those beings again, and he has this very serious, mean look on his face. He's determined. He's not joyful or happy. And it says ancestors, ancestral line, generational shift. I've never gotten this card before. Let me see what the book has to say about this, because this is very interesting. Generational shift. Before I even look at the book, what I'm getting from this card, the energy that I feel, generational shift, is we're going to break the cycle of something. We're going to break the cycle in our family. We're going to make a change. We're not going to repeat what generations before us have repeated over and over, especially in situations where there could be some kind of an addiction, drugs, alcohol. You could be addicted to relationships where you make poor choices and you stick with partners that aren't in your best interest. When I think of generational shift, I'm basically thinking that light the darkness, meaning that you're not going to repeat the things that had gone on previously in your family. You're going to make a difference. You're going to shed some light on something that might not want to be brought forward, and you're going to break the chain. But let's see what the book says regarding this. Okay, when I look at the books, and usually I don't even look at these guidebooks. I go strictly on my intuition and what I feel I'm getting from Spirit, because I think that's the most authentic way for me to relate to you exactly what needs to be said. But the Light the Darkness card, it says a tiny bright childlike fairy straddles the grizzled head of a fairy elder. Okay, so those beings are fairy elders. What can this mean? In fairy lore, the head is particularly significant. It is in the head that inspiration, fire, and power are said to reside. And on another level, the small brightness of the fairy represents inspiration. This card is basically meaning listen to elders. Find a playful, wiser elder from whom you could learn. Seek out relatives and ancestor wisdom. Again, it kind of goes back to breaking the cycle. You know, learning from what our past ancestors did, how they dealt with things, and if they weren't strong enough to break the cycle, you're going to be the one that breaks that cycle. That's what I am getting from this. It also says, old wise ones have messages for you, and you can learn much from them. Understand that you come from a long line of wise ones and connect with those elders. Do not be afraid of growing older. You will never die. Your light will be passed on, and your soul spark will return to Source. So basically, it's a card of passing wisdom on. So the elder, from all of the experiences that they've been through, they're able to pass their experience on to you. However, you don't necessarily have to repeat if it was a bad cycle, if it was a codependent type of thing, if it was something negative, if it was just something that you've got to finally break the cycle on. That's how I look at it. It's good to ask elders and people that have gone through things, but the way of the world now is so much different than when it was years and years and years ago. There's so many places you can go for help. There's so many things that you can do to reach out to other people in need. There's self-support groups, there's help groups. Whenever anybody has experienced a tragedy, the most important thing to them is to raise awareness. To raise awareness and let other people know that they're not alone. And to me, this card is basically sharing the experience of generations upon generations to work out whatever it is that is going on in your life. But for some reason, this card is making me think that you're going to break the chain. You're going to break the cycle. You're going to have a better future than your ancestors did, and you're going to make a difference. Because really, I mean, we've been working on ourselves, throughout this whole week. If we look at the card from the beginning of the week for Monday, Beauty and the Beast, we were talking about unconditional love, and I stated how important self-love is. And when you develop that self-love, from that self-love, you're able to recognize situations that are not healthy for you, that could be codependent, where you need to finally let go and detach and move on. And how you're going to do that is, basically you're going to look for a support system, whether it be from the angelic realm, the spiritual realm, maybe a close friend or family member. You're going to be confident. You're going to get through this no matter what it is. It's going to make you grow. You're going to realize that there's going to be dark times in our life, and those dark times are going to teach us the most serious lessons that we need to learn to mature, to move on, to gain the knowledge that we take with us for the next step. And then, of course, this weekend, growth, potential. We're all growing. We're all experiencing situations that don't seem fair and don't seem right, but you're going to grow from it. Something maybe unaware has taken place, and maybe you will find out what it is, maybe you won't. But there's going to be a blessing in it. And the light, the darkness, taking the knowledge and experience from our elders or people that have gone through things like we've gone through, and breaking the chain. Doesn't mean that you have to do what other people did to try to conquer whatever it was in their life or to get through whatever situation. You could possibly take a completely different approach, but ask people, ask for help, ask for advice. Doesn't mean you have to follow it to the T. You may even come up with a better idea or a better notion of how to deal with it. But breaking this cycle and saying, look, this might have happened in the past. This may be what my family has been through, but I am not going to go through this, and I'm going to break the cycle. That's what I truly get from this card. A shift. Trust in the wisdom that our elders have to offer us, but then ultimately make whatever decision you need to make for yourself. Very, very interesting week, I must say. It's about self-love, it's about growth, it's about walking away from things that no longer serve us. It's about, depending upon others to give you that shoulder to lean on, because we can't carry the burden all alone. If you've enjoyed these readings this week, I surely enjoyed doing them. Please subscribe to my channel because I'll be back. Take care.